Everyone joining me right now, as we are discussing Travis Alexander, like he's a specimen or something out of a book. The reality is he was loved by many, including his dear friend Zach Billings, who is joining us tonight. Zach, thank you for being with us. I know it must be very, very difficult to hear all of us lawyers and reporters talking about your friend like he's basically state's exhibit number one. We are looking at it from a trial and analytical angle, and you look at it very differently. In fact, you found his body, did you not?
Yes, I did. And
Zach, what happened that day?
yes, I did, Nancy, and thank you for having me on. That day I remember I was actually watching a movie with my girlfriend at the time, or my wife now, and I remember getting a knock on my door, and Travis's friends came to the door, and they said, "Have you seen Travis?" And I said, "Well, no, I haven't seen Travis. He's supposed to be in Cancun or out on vacation right now." And they said, "Yes, he is, but he's supposed to be here with Mimi." And so I said, "Well, have you checked his bedroom?" And that was my first thought. So they said, "Well, no, we haven't. The door's locked." And I said, "I think he keeps a spare set of keys downstairs." So I went downstairs and I searched for him and grabbed a few sets of keys and came back upstairs and tried a few different sets of keys, and one of them happened to be his bedroom key. And as soon as the door was opened, my heart just sank, and immediately on the right-hand side, I did end up seeing a pool of blood, and looked down the hallway and saw just blood strewn throughout the hallway, and my heart just sank. I ended up going into the closet that's adjacent to the hallway, and it opens up to the bathroom as well. And that's when I saw his body, and I came back out and I just told everybody he's dead. Call 911.
When you say that you opened the door and your heart sank, what exactly did you see that made your heart sink?
Just a pile of blood on the floor.
When was the last time that you had actually seen him or spoken with him?
The last time I had seen him would have been just the week prior, and it wasn't anything big. It was just in passing, just saying hi. It would have been the Sunday before he was killed.
Did you know Jodi Arias? Did you become acquainted with her while you and Travis were living together?
Yes, I did. I'd met her on several different occasions. Jodi actually had an interest in photography, and as it's come out that she loved photography, and at the time I had done photography semi-professionally. And so we had talked a little bit about it. She had shown me some of her work. I had showed her some of mine. And we just met on other occasions to just chit-chat and, how's life, and that was about it.
What was she like? How did she act when she was around Travis?
When she was around Travis, didn't act any differently than if she was, or at least around me, didn't act any differently than if she was by herself.
Were you aware that
my interactions with her.
Were you ever aware that his tires had been slashed? Then he gets new tires and moves his car, and then they're slashed again the next day. Did he confide in you what was going on?
I had heard about that, and he had told me that had happened. However, I didn't. All I was told is that it was an ex-girlfriend, and I wasn't told specifically that it was Jodi, and didn't hear about that until after the fact.
When you saw the bedroom, the bathroom, and confirmed your fears, and you saw his body, his dead body, slumped over in that shower, did you think of Jodi Arias?
At that point in time, my thoughts just went directly towards making sure that everybody involved was okay and that we made sure everything was taken care of. Those thoughts didn't come on until later that
When?
evening. And
So
even
that very day?
after, it didn't come on until after somebody had mentioned that Jodi might quite possibly be involved, and then I started connecting the dots and everything started to make a little more sense.
Zach, again, thank you for being with us. When did you see Jodi Arias? When did you first see her after his murder?
The first time I saw Jodi after the murder and after we found his body was the following Monday at Travis's memorial service.
How did she behave?
She seemed a little bit differently. I mean, she came in, she's normally blonde, came in with brown hair. She came up to me, gave me a hug, and
brown
said,
hair.
"Isn't this just horrible?"
Wait a minute. What did you say about brown hair?
Oh, she's normally a blonde-haired girl, or was when I knew her, and then that week I happened to see her with brown hair. Different color hair entirely.
So in the
she
middle
had
of
come
all
up to
this,
me.
finding out that Travis Alexander has been brutally murdered, she dyes her hair?
Correct.
Okay, I'm just finding that unusual, Zach, because I'm a crime victim. When my fiance was murdered, I couldn't even eat. I didn't even want to wash my hair, much less go to a salon and get my hair dyed. Okay, I just find that very unusual. But go ahead.
At that point in time, she came up to me and gave me a big hug and just said, isn't this just horrible? I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And she asked me where I was living at the time, and that was about the extent of our interaction after that point.
Did she ask you any questions regarding your discovery of the body?
She asked me just a brief of what happened as far as my interaction with anybody else. Had the police talk to me, and she already knew at that point that I had seen the body and just asked what the process was going through, what I was going through.
Question, when you look back on the way she behaved at that memorial, that funeral, how do you reconcile that? Because at that time, whichever story of hers anybody chooses to believe or disbelieve, whether they believe A, when she said she didn't do it, B, that two perpetrators dressed in solid black, a man and a woman, attacked him as she looked on, or 3, that she killed him in self-defense. How do you reconcile her behavior at the memorial with what we now know, that she slashed his throat with such force it went all the way through his neck back to his neck bone?
It's hard. It really is hard to fathom her reaction that day and to fathom just how she carried herself that day. If I was in similar circumstances, and let's say it was self-defense, and that happened to me, I would just be in tears. I would not be able to fathom anything. In fact, I was in tears that day. And to see her just nonchalantly, just how is everything and everything else.
I want to go back to Zach Billings, Travis Alexander's roommate. You know, I can recall that I did not want to see, as a crime victim, did not want to see my fiance's dead body, because I felt that that image would be with me the rest of my life. Have you found that discovering Travis's dead body is the image that is sticking with you?
Absolutely. It's something that never really leaves you. Anytime it's brought up, I relive walking through that room and seeing everything I saw that day. And it's something that will always be with me, regardless of how much I try to get it out of my head.
You know, I was just remembering, just hearing you talk, I remember when I saw the casket at a distance, I actually passed out in the funeral home. I guess emotionally and mentally you're not ready for it When you view Jodi Arias now, when you see her, when you remember back, what do you make of her theory that this was she killed him in self-defense? Because I don't like sitting back and seeing this young man who came so far in his life from where his parents left him to be dragged through the mud like this. He's been claimed to be a monster, a sex deviant, awful, an aggressor, an abuser that beat her. And I'm getting all of this from her. Why should I believe her?
You shouldn't. In fact, Travis was one of the nicest and kindest men I've ever met. He was the type of guy that you just wanted to be around. You always wanted to be like him. You wanted to. He had a beautiful home. He had great friends. And he was just that type of guy that you just wanted to associate yourself with and be around.